Greetings, friends. It's finally my pleasure, after several weeks of hiatus, to welcome you back to Can I Kick It?, the Jetpack Joust web series where we talk about indie games, board games, and role-playing games that you can help crowdfund right now. It's E3 week, which means there's a lot of big games floating around the internet, but I'd like to talk about some smaller ones. Let's get started. There was a time when multiplayer gaming meant sitting next to a friend or family member with a controller in your hand and going head-to-head or working together to accomplish a task. But as the technology has grown and shifted, online multiplayer has become the primary focus for most developers. This means that many of us are playing games apart from our friends. Together is a game that, as the name suggests, will bring us back to our couches and thus reconnect us with the people who we love to game with in the first place. It's an entirely cooperative puzzler designed from the ground up to be played with 2 players, no more and no less. This means there's no single player experience. You have to work together to accomplish your goals. This is a refreshing experiment because oftentimes multiplayer games resort to a situation where one player is superior to the other, even when they're supposed to be working as a team. In Together, if your partner fails, you fail, which means there's a lot of incentive to time your strategies and to find common ground. The story is simple enough, but it has a lot of emotional potential. You and your partner play as a mother and son who travel into a dark forest to find the cure for the illness that ails your daughter and sister. A lot of this Kickstarter money is going towards fleshing out this story, to possibly adding cutscenes or more art that will allow you to understand the real depth of the love that this family feels for each other. I am incredibly excited about Together. There are enough games out there that pit people head to head, that have them fight in death matches. I want to see a co-op experience, and a non-violent one that will really help to add some flavor to my friendships with people. This Kickstarter video shows an awful lot of candid high fives between friends, and that is really awesome. So I think Together is an experience that's worth your time and maybe even worth your money. Check it out. There have been a lot of digital map-making tools for role-playing games on Kickstarter over the years. It just seems to be a very popular concept. People want to digitize their role-playing experiences. But most of these tools aren't particularly intuitive, and they're complex enough that they're not great for improvisation at the table. For all of these reasons, I was hesitant to put this next project in today's video, but I really think it's striving to be something different than the rest of the pack. I think it could really change the way that people use digital platforms for role-playing games. It's called the Iron Atlas, and it's an application being designed specifically for tablets that can be connected to a television. This allows you to transmit your maps onto the big screen and therefore allow everyone to see the action. It's one of the first legitimate examples that I've seen of a product that could really replace the plastic battle maps that have been the standard for most RPGs throughout history. What makes Iron Atlas particularly interesting is the fact that it's being supported by some major RPG publishers like Green Ronin. This means that they're going to provide maps that they've already built from adventures that you've probably played, and you'll be able to use them at your table without any extra effort. It could also mean a vast collection of art that you could use for digital tokens that you move around the board. This is all speculation on my part, but because they've already got some significant backers, this means that you could potentially see companies like Monte Cook Games or Fantasy Flight or Wizards of the Coast devoting entire maps to the product that you could purchase through the in-app store. I also appreciated that the interface looks a lot more simplistic than you typically see in this style of program. It looks pretty easy to upload a map, to create tokens, and to sort of build the adventures and the encounters that you want to see in your session. However, I have been burned by this type of product in the past, and I really hope that they're going to live up to their potential. They're asking for quite a bit of money, $75,000. But if they do what they say they're going to do, it could really change the way that we play with miniatures at the table. It could really allow for a truly digital experience that's easy instead of difficult and complex. What I like about my plastic mat is that I can simply draw whatever I want on it. And that's what I want from this program too. So hopefully, Iron Atlas will give us just that. Sheltered is like the 8-bit opposite of the perennial favorite Fallout series. Instead of leaving your vault and heading into a post-apocalyptic wilderness, you are attempting to keep your family safe from inside of a bomb shelter. With limited supplies and the mental anguish of being locked inside of a small structure for so long, this is no easy task. Eventually, you will have to escape into the wasteland, and you may have to make some supremely moral decisions along the way. When a woman with a baby knocks on your door and asks to share some food, will you let her inside? Will you let her take some of your valuable resources? And how will you justify turning her away? These are the kinds of questions that Sheltered is going to ask you, and that's why it's so exciting. You play as a family of 4, a father, a mother, and a son, and you can switch between these characters at will. You have to maintain each of their statuses to make sure that no one's sick, or scared, or paranoid, or tired. It's like The Sims, but with real life or death consequences. If you forget to put on your hazmat suit, you might die of a radiation poisoning. And what's worse, if you don't go through the contamination chamber before re-entering the rest of the facility, you might contaminate your family as well. From zombies to mutants to nuclear warfare, we are a society that is obsessed with the end of the world. And I don't always think that this is a good thing. But what I like about Sheltered is that it really focuses on a single family unit, and it allows you to get to know these people and to create their feelings and to really understand what they're going through. It's something a little different than a lot of the other experiences I've seen in this genre. I do, however, wonder if the art style that they're using is starting to get a little bit stale. We've seen it in Gods We'll Be Watching this year, which is one of my favorite games, but we've also seen it in a number of other Kickstarter games that we've presented to you here on Can I Kick It? Is this an art style that you really enjoy, and would this game, standing next to the rest of the pack, just tend to blend in? I'm a little worried about that, but the core concept is really interesting, and I think you should take a look at it. If you've been watching Tabletop Deathmatch on YouTube, then you may want to skip a little bit ahead if you haven't finished it yet, because we're going to talk about the winner, who is going to Kickstarter to try to get a few more resources to make their game as high quality as possible. Is everybody here ready for spoilers? We're talking about a game called Penny Press. Penny Press is a worker placement game in which you play the editor-in-chief of a major newspaper in New York during the boom of the 1920s. You have a finite number of reporters that you can send out to report on stories ranging from crime to world news to politics to human interest. Each of these stories and each of these different beats is worth a certain number of points, and when you finally go to press with that week's issue, you count up the points and track them around the edge of the board. It's a lot like Lords of Waterdeep or Ticket to Ride. Whoever has the most points at the end wins the game. But that's not the reason that I'm so excited about Penny Press. Whoever has the most points at the end of the game wins, but it's not really purely the gameplay that I'm excited about here. What I love is how the theme and the gameplay work together to evoke that sense of excitement that would have existed during the journalism scene in that time period. This is before radio, this is before television. The newspaper was where you got all of your information. It was sensationalized, it was fun, and it was very informative. There's a reason that this game won Tabletop Deathmatch, and that's because it impressed a lot of industry professionals. But you might be asking, they're already getting money from the game. They're already getting money to be published. What do they need more money for? Why are they on Kickstarter? Well, the main reason for this is that they want to offer a higher quality product. They want to have linen-backed cards that are easier to shuffle, easier to feel in your hands. I really respect a designer that wants to give you the top quality product that they can. And with Penny Press, they're looking to add new art, they're looking to create new textures, new fabrics that will really bring this game to life at your table, and I think that that's admirable. So you should definitely check this out. They've already passed their goal, this is already happening, but you can still help them out in some capacity. See what you can do and take a look. Lastly, we have kind of a strange project looking to be funded that's less about backing a game than it is backing a developer. It's called the Spaceteam Admiral's Club. If you've ever heard of Spaceteam or its creator Henry Smith, then you already know that it's one of the most innovative and entertaining games in the mobile space. Henry is a phenomenal game designer, and he's doing some really interesting things on the cell phone that very few people would even bother to try. It's why I really love the Admiral's Club, because all of his games have been free so far, and he continues to make them for free. So what we can do is offer him some financial remuneration for all of the hours of fun that we've had playing Spaceteam and hopefully playing any games that he has planned for the future. However, he has announced 2 games that could be released if he gets the funding that he needs. The first is called Labyrinth, and like Spaceteam, it's a cooperative experience, but instead of flying through space, you're working together with a team of archaeologists to uncover great treasure in an ancient ruin. The second is called Shipshape, and it takes its inspiration from a great board game called Galaxy Truckers. This game will see you using geometric shapes to create your own spaceship and fly it through the stars. Both of these games already look and sound amazing, and they could be worthy of their own separate Kickstarters, but you could get them both for free if you help Henry out. So definitely check this one out, and remember to work together as a space team. Well folks, that's a wrap for another episode of Can I Kick It? And we really hope you enjoyed the projects that we brought to you today. If you're thinking about contributing to any of them, you can find the links down below. You'll be able to watch their Kickstarter videos, and you'll be able to see all the information that you'll need to know exactly whether or not this is a project that you're interested in. We'd also like to suggest you check out our website, jetpackjoust.com. We've got a lot of great stuff going on over there. This week we're going to have a review of Always Sometimes Monsters. That was really fun, and maybe we'll talk about some of our favorite indie games at E3. We've also got all of the social networks covered. You got Facebook, you've got Twitter. I actually spent all of Monday live tweeting the E3 press conferences for each one of the major companies. There's some funny little quips in there if you'd like to read through that and see what some of my opinions were of some of those games. Please like this video if you enjoyed it. Comment down below with any thoughts you might have about the projects that we presented to you today, and subscribe to this channel because we're trying to give you as much as we can every single week. We're going to have reviews, we're going to have Let's Plays, we're going to have more videos like Can I Kick It, and next week, hopefully, we'll have a new episode of Hit the Table. So there's a lot to be excited about in the future, and we hope you'll come see us again. Until next time, a Bill, a Murray.